ORIA sounds incredible. That's the only thing that matters. My name is Bert. I am a musician, I'm a recording engineer, I'm a mixing engineer. I produce music and I mix in stereo, 5.1 and Dolby Atmos. So basically I've been playing live my whole life, and at the same time I was always recording and mixing in studios. And in the last 10 years I've been also composing music for a company called S&P Amsterdam, where I composed and produced music for television, for commercials, but also for films. That's also where I got hooked up in Dolby Atmos, because in films, Dolby Atmos is quite a common thing for over a decade now. But in music, it was relatively new. So I got completely hooked like 3 or 4 years ago, and I started studying it. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I think about 3 or 4 months ago, I started to build my own music production studio / mixing studio for stereo, 5.1, and Dolby Atmos. And that's where we're here now. When I started to design my own studio, I had a few wishes. Like, I needed to have all my hardware gear around me, within reach. Everything needed to be ready and fully functional. I needed to be able to mix in stereo, but I also needed to be able to mix in 5.1 and in Dolby Atmos. And at that time, there was basically only one audio interface that allowed me to do everything, and that was the Audient ORIA. So I started using that, and it was like, especially together with the SonarWorks calibration, which is like a gift from heaven. The whole room calibration thing was like a match made in heaven, and suddenly I had a very small but efficient production room, completely configured and calibrated for Dolby Atmos. So I could still compose, I could still do all my programming, do all my stereo mixing, and I am doing all my Dolby Atmos mixing here as well. Mixing, as you know, is all about the translation to the outside world. So what you need, you can mix on speakers that are like €3,000 per piece, but not a lot of end consumers listen the same way. They use normal speakers, or they use, like living room speakers or maybe headphones. So your mix needs to be prepared for listening on so many different systems. That's why I like to mix on many different speaker systems. And the Audient ORIA allows you to connect different speaker sets physically, and then just change the profile. It's automatically switched to the other stereo output. It's insane how easy that is. So one thing I haven't mentioned at all, which is basically the most important thing, is the sound quality. Because everything I buy is not because it looks good, but it sounds good. That's the only thing that matters. ORIA sounds incredible. First of all, the machine sounds incredible, but also the mic pre's I use a lot for bass or for vocals. The headphone amps are amazing. The first time I had it all, I was like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? So I was really happy with the headphone amps. So to me, it's the center, the heart of my studio. It's on like probably 20 hours a day, and it works flawlessly. Mixing music in Dolby Atmos requires a complete different discipline. It's not like mixing stereo. You work with buses normally, you work with mastering. In Dolby Atmos, mixing requires a whole different philosophy. So that's something you need to learn over the years. There's a lot of rules you have to stick to. When you want to upload things to Apple Music, they have a lot of rules you have to stick to and everything. However, in order to do all this, you need a setup that is like a no-brainer setup. It has to be very straightforward. And to me, the Audient ORIA was basically the only thing that did all that I want in one box. So for me, it's the answer to all my questions. It's as simple as that.